It's funny. People always ask me about, confrontation, and I don't know why people assume I would lose a fight with him. But I absolutely believe a biography is going to be open to interpretation. It's always going to be from the writer's point of view. I consider myself a historian. I consider myself a witness to history. I also, in a way, the book is sort of like my memoirs about the years that I spent with Christian. And it's a unique piece of history for him to be the biggest star of the internet in the 1990s when the internet was really launched. The World Wide Web didn't start until 1992. Christian was the star, dominated the internet by 1994. So very, very early on. The Christian Bale fans, we used to communicate on CompuServe back in the day, on Prodigy, on America Online, and we were trying to find a name for our community. And apparently one of the fans, and I forgot her name, it's sort of lost to history now, but one of the fans thought of the name Balehead and introduced it to a chat room, and we all loved it. We thought of the Grateful Dead, Deadheads, and it just seemed to fit people perfectly, and hence the name Balehead was born. The main reason why I wrote this book is to sort of document a period of history and to provide a human face to someone like Christian Bale, who's been so secretive and so controlling of his personal image. I would hope that anyone who reads the book, that they're going to be interested in my writing and interested in the truth and in my style of investigative journalism. And I've already been talking to other celebrities about writing books with them. So I think the reaction has been pretty good so far. I don't know whether privacy is the correct interpretation. I think they want respect. I think they figured that they're making millions of dollars and they're a household name and they're a celebrity, that they insist on some sort of respect and they insist on control. And I think some of it absolutely makes sense if they're feeling pestered. But the other aspect of control, I think it's just, when it gets too big for their britches and they've decided that they want to control everything. You never see Meryl Streep on TMZ. You don't see every single celebrity in court. The celebrities that tend to be in the news are the ones that are looking for it, and they don't know how to behave themselves. Celebrities, through their publicists, will control access. They will be very strict about who they want to talk to and what they want to talk about. Christian's actually a really good example. In 2008, when he allegedly assaulted his mother and his sister at the London premiere of The Dark Knight, well, he was already doing the press junket for The Dark Knight, and after the assault, after his arrest, the Warner Brothers publicist would say, no one is allowed to ask any personal questions. Please keep your questions focused on the film at hand. So there's already an aspect of control, and it's all about having the clout or ability to insist on that control. It's the inside story because of my perspective as his longtime friend, personal assistant, marketing manager. And The Darkest Batman, I think the genesis of the book went back to 2008 during the premiere of The Dark Knight. So of all the Batman movies, I think Christian's interpretation with Christopher Nolan has been the darkest. And I thought that it's sort of a revelation, a peek behind what goes on at Wayne Manor. Christian's had a very odd relationship with the press for years, and in a way that's actually how come he and I got along so well. When he was the star of Steven Spielberg's Empire of the Sun, that was back in 1987, and Christian had a very well-known and well-publicized breakdown in Paris when he was doing the press for that film. And I think after the negative reaction to his breakdown, being a child of 13 and enduring a very heavy press schedule, he went back to England and faced the local press that sort of teased him because Empire of the Sun didn't do well at the box office. So he's always been very reluctant to do press. So by the time he moved to Los Angeles, when he met me, he really liked the idea of internet marketing because it was a way of getting press without having to do it in person. It was a nice way of reaching the masses with minimal effort. Photo shoots in particular, Christian hated doing. If any true Bale head, they love to talk about on the internet that Christian rarely smiles in interviews or on photo shoots. I think Christian considered smiling too intimate, too revelatory, and he didn't want to give too much away in an interview or a photo shoot. When he first moved to LA, he did press reluctantly. He realized he had to do press, but that's why I think to this day, his approach to publicity is he will only come out to do press tours to support a film. You're not going to see him in between doing charity work. You're not going to see him on Jeopardy. You're not going to see him doing anything just to maintain a public figure. You can either be a press hog and always be in the press, or you can be like someone like Christian who ends up being difficult. One of his co-stars, Emily Watson, who starred with him in Metroland and in Equilibrium, she told me that his nickname on set was Tandy because of all the tantrums he threw whenever press showed up on set. So I think there are extremes on how you control and build a rapport with the press, because ultimately the press speak to your fans, and your fans are the one that buy your tickets and rent your videos. I think Christian is definitely man versus self. I think Christian has had a lot of identity issues. He was born in Wales, but doesn't consider himself Welsh. When the American press ask him about being British, he doesn't like that either. He wants to be considered American when he's in America. But when he's in England, he wants to make sure that he's considered American. I think in many ways he's like a man without a country, and he sort of has always had that challenge of trying to fit in. He used to tell me whenever he would come back from a failed audition, I would ask him, I said, how did the audition go and what happened and why didn't you get the part? And he said, because I'm English. So I think he really developed a resentment of being pigeonholed. I think that's why he did some of the movies he did do, because the early part of his career, he was only doing period films. He wanted to land American contemporary roles, and obviously had the big breakout role in American Psycho. And his mindset sort of changed when he realized what type of clout you need to be able to get that next part. And it took a lot of lobbying on the internet and a lot of work on his fans' behalf to be able to land Batman. And I think that speaks for itself. He is the first foreigner to ever play such a famous American anti-hero. From a financial point of view, obviously Christian has been enriched by the part, but from a privacy point of view, his ability to handle fame, I've seen him in interviews where he says, sometimes I wish I could just go back and be an anonymous actor and work quietly in smaller projects. To buy the book, you can go to the website bale-biography.com, and I have links to all the websites around the world that are carrying the book.